Well, welcome to Green Signals, live from the greatest gathering here at Derby Litchurch Lane on the last day, Sunday the 3rd of August. I've lost track of the dates, Nigel. I think it's the 3rd of August.
So you officially don't know what day it is?
I officially don't know what day.
Actually, you do, because I heard Charlie tell you earlier that yesterday was Saturday. So it gave you a reference point.
And by on the process of elimination, therefore today's Sunday. No, it is indeed.
There we go. Welcome.
Just a little bit of housekeeping at the start of this live stream. First of all, a huge shout out to DB Cargo, to Mike, Russell, all the team for lending us one of their Starlink satellite systems. That's what we're using to upload to YouTube. It's been absolutely brilliant. We're incredibly grateful to all the team at DB Cargo, so thanks guys. One of the things that we have noticed, though, occasionally, and it's not the Starlink, I think it's just the nature of YouTube streaming, just occasionally it buffers and the picture might freeze just momentarily. Do not adjust your sets. Certainly don't leave the stream. It sorts itself out very quickly, and I think yesterday was absolutely fine anyway. So
we could just spend the time giggling at whatever ridiculous facial expressions that we've frozen in, couldn't we?
Well, yes, but if you could avoid doing that on a normal basis, that would be...
I'm not going to do it again.
That would be quite good. So we're on our final live stream of the greatest gathering. It's been absolutely terrific, but we've been really blessed with some fantastic guests that have come on to the show.
And we have more today.
And we have more today, and we're going to introduce our first guest. So welcome to Green Signals, Tom Cairns. I was trying to work out how to describe you. I went with founder, visionary, genius,
Godfather
behind real-time trains.
Yes, really.
I think
it was him.
Possibly the most important website that's been produced on the railways in, the last 200 years. Welcome, Tom.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
For those who don't know what real-time trains is, and you have actually therefore been living in a cave, what is it? And I suppose, what was your vision behind it? Why did you do it?
Was it a light bulb moment or a slow?
It was a bit of a slow burner. So it's a real-time train information website. So all trains running in Great Britain on Network Rail are covered, and essentially it just tracks all of them across the network, giving effectively real-time information, cancellations, predictions, forecasts, and the schedules as to what's going on. And we've got sort of a simple mode, which is what I use when I'm commuting, and a detailed mode, which is what I use when I'm absolutely geeking out over trains. And it's what, 13 years old now, I think, something like that.
Is it really that? I mean, that's extraordinary.
I mean, you look impossibly young now.
I was going to say, yeah, thanks for that. How popular is it, though? I mean, websites measure themselves, I suppose, in terms of unique views.
Yeah.
What sort of traffic are you getting to the site?
So in an average month, we have about 750,000 users.
Wow.
In bad months for the railway, when things are really disrupted, so last month we had about 1 million unique users on the website alone, and we serve anything between about 1.5 million train information queries every day. So it's busy.
These are just extraordinary numbers.
I can't think of another website that just crops up in conversation quite so often. Most days, if you're talking to people who are travelling around, you'll hear them saying, well, have you looked on real-time trains? Whatever, the comment. It just comes, and I think that is an amazing marker of how it's embedded into the very DNA fabric, cellular structure of the railway.
I suppose
well done.
Yeah, absolutely well done. I mean, I suppose a technical sort of nerdy question, where does the feed come from? Does the data feed come from a particular source?
So the feed is completely public, anyone can do it, essentially, or most of what we do. Network Rail started publishing it in 2012. Just around the same time I was getting quite annoyed with everything else on the market to get me where I'm going. So right time, right place. Had a summer quite bored to myself, and so I did it.
I love that. I was bored, so I created
real-time
trains. It's just extraordinary.
This would have been incredibly irritating for you, I suppose, but if anybody could have done it, why didn't the railway? Eloquently answer. I think we know the answer to that one, don't we?
No, but it's a serious question, though, isn't it? I mean, it is, in the end, railways and transport systems are as much about communication and information and data as they are anything else, right?
Yeah.
And you would think that if we got nothing else right, at the very least, communication and information is what you'd get right. So it is really strange that it took effectively, if I can call it, a privateer to actually go, we need this, and to do it.
Yeah, no, definitely.
When it's their data.
I know. Getting the right information to the right people at the point in time that you need it has always been one of the main driving forces behind it. And the thing that always comes to me when I'm sort of using it myself, when I'm commuting or I'm in disruption or anything like that, is just using the data that I've got there, I can work out what's going on, even if the railway aren't telling me what is going on. It's the really odd scenario that the person on the platform with their phone has more information than the station staff, who really should know everything at that point. But yet, RTT's taken hold.
Railway's bad at that
because of that.
It is. I mean, I don't know if anybody from the who's involved in this stuff in the industry is listening, but it is a salutary lesson, actually. And you're staying ahead of the curve. What's the development curve for the website though? Because you've now, is what we have today it, or have you got plans to do more and develop further?
That's a hard one. So my development plans are largely based on what's annoyed me last when I'm travelling.
Okay.
That's reasonable.
Yeah, so when I'm out and about, if everything runs normally, then I don't really have much wrong. If I end up in some sort of disruption and I get really annoyed by something, or when I'm just travelling, I know your train, the pictures on top of the trains, on top of a train service is a fantastic example. I was getting really annoyed when I was travelling on ScotRail, and I might get a 170 with a plug socket, or I might not, who knows, but I would like to know, so I need to know if I need to charge my phone or my laptop before I get on it.
So that information is now there.
Exactly, and that really annoyed me at the time. And so that was the main driving force behind that. So it's never say never. I haven't got anything at this very second, other than, we're working on subscriptions at the moment to give a bit more information and that kind of thing. But in terms of like new features, I'm just waiting for the next thing to annoy me.
Well, when you think about it, we're living with a government and a railway which abandons plans for a national ticketing site, didn't we? So it's hardly surprising they're not doing this sort of thing. But again, I have to ask, are they doing anything to sort of eat your lunch and think we've got to stop him doing that, let's do it ourselves?
Every now and again I hear on the grapevine things being developed in back rooms at the railway that sound extremely familiar to me.
But too late, you're in there now.
But you've got first mover advantage.
Exactly.
And even if somebody came up with something which had the same functionality, I suspect people like me, I wouldn't move, because what you've produced the thing that I want.
Is that the jargon, first mover advantage?
Yeah.
I just said they're in first, but if it was a board presentation, first mover advantage is...
There you go. If you get your PowerPoint out, you can put first mover advantage on it. There you go.
FMA.
And now, are we right that you're also doing some ticket sales as well now?
Yeah, so we started selling tickets 1st of April. Because I thought April Fool's Day was a brilliant day to announce that we're now selling tickets, when I never said I was going to do it in my life. So perfect first day. And yeah, we're getting to a decent level of ticket sales. We haven't done a huge amount of marketing, but we've sold between about 60,000-80,000 of tickets, something in that ballpark at the moment. So I'm quite pleased with that.
Superb. Well, I have to say, just from a entire non-railway point of view, all my family use it. All my children use real-time trains. They are, if we want to know whether they're going to be on time at Chippenham, that's the place we go to.
Yeah.
It's superb. You have, I think, revolutionised real-time train information. So
I think the word is nailed it.
Nailed it is absolutely right. Well, listen, Tom, thank you so much for joining us.
Tom, it's been a pleasure.
Absolutely superb.
More power to your elbow.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, if you end up in world domination, we'll know why. It was something that really upset you, and you went and did something about it, which I think is absolutely fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, Tom Cairns.
Thank you.
Now, one of the things that a lot of you have said in terms of comments on YouTube is we want to see some of the trains that are around here at the site. So yesterday, I went out with the camera and shot some footage. Now, I've got to be honest, this was a very rough edit. What did you call it last night?
It's a sort of raw and uncut.
A raw and
uncut.
uncut.
Gathering.
There you go. So there's no commentary. You'll hear the sights and sounds. Here's a little bit of quiz. Part of the plan. So before we roll the video, I hope Charlie's not actually rolled in the video yet. Anyway, here's the quiz. If you can name every single locomotive or train set that appears on this video
in the correct
order, write them down, send us an email to info@greensignals.org. If you can do that by, say, close of play tomorrow, which is Monday the 4th of August, that gives you an extra day to do it. So list them all, send us an email to info@greensignals.org. We'll pick the winner out randomly and they'll get one of our winner's mugs. How's that?
That sounds like a good idea to me.
In which case, I think that's what we call Roll VT.
Roll VT.
Well, welcome back to Green Signals. We're here at the Greatest Gathering, day 3.
And it's the last of our live streams.
It is the last of our live streams. And we've got about a week's worth of content that we filmed that has now got to be edited when we get home.
But it's been fun doing this. We'll have to, you know, the old Green Signals Roadshow, maybe we ought to offer it about a bit for
It would be fun to do
for
that.
selected events. So if you please form an orderly digital queue and we'll get to you.
That was completely unscripted. I shall have words with you later for announcing that without talking about it first.
Well, it occurred to me and it just came out, Richard.
That is of great concern, but there you go.
You know me.
I do know you. I do know you. One of the things that you can do if you want to support the channel so that we can do things like this is become a member. And so for the Greatest Gathering, we are offering 50% off the first month of your membership through Patreon. Now, we can't do it through YouTube, unfortunately. We're not able to do timed discounts, but we can do it through Patreon. So on your screen, if you are watching, there's a link that tells you where to go in order to do that. One thing you just need to know, to be able to use the 50% off code that is on the screen at the moment, you need to do it on a desktop. It doesn't work on a mobile device. We've discovered that in the last couple of days. So do it on a desktop and you'll be able to get 50% off your first month. We will keep the offer open until August 8th. So you don't panic, you don't have to do it today. But if you want to take advantage of the Greatest Gathering offer, do that by the 8th of August on Patreon. Okay. We are competing a bit at the moment with the sights and sounds of the Greatest Gathering.
The Class 37.
Well, we got a Class 37 that was
the Class
37 D6 700, the original locomotive, the number one that was built. They were giving the engine a little bit of beans earlier. We were competing with that.
I think they were enjoying it.
I think they were enjoying
that.
I
was
as well.
enjoying it as well. It's part of the sound of my childhood.
I couldn't agree more. Now, one of the lovely things about the Greatest Gathering is who is here and who's been around, and it's obviously 12,500 people, but there's today I managed to grab literally just a minute with Pete Waterman, known to so many, obviously the music impresario, but also...
You should be so lucky.
Thank you very much. I just walked straight into that. There you go. But also a massive rail enthusiast and a really high-quality railway modeller as well. And I caught up with Pete and asked him what he thought about the Greatest Gathering. Here's Pete Waterman. Pete Waterman, great to see you here. What do you think of this?
It's amazing. And you know what's so great? The youngsters that are here. I mean, you'd expect this to be an old do. Lots of young people here. That's fantastic news for us. I think, I'm bowled over just how many families have come.
It's from the youngest of all, and you can see the love and the passion in their eyes.
I said this yesterday. I've never, ever, ever seen the love like this. It really, and that's not an over. I'm not blowing that out. That's real true. The enthusiasm and love here is phenomenal. It is phenomenal.
And what do you think about the logistics of putting something this on? It's just extraordinary, isn't it?
It is, and of course it will never happen again. This is it. This is it. We'll never happen.
It's great to see anyway, Pete. Look, thanks so much for spending time. It looks like you've been really busy as well.
Oh, crazy here. I mean, I've been running around. I did 16 miles yesterday. 16 miles at my age. My legs have gone down 3 inches.
Pete Waterman, thanks so much. Cheers.
Thank you.
And we're back in the studio. Pete is always great value, isn't he?
No other battery looks like it or lasts like it, does it? Pete is just wonderful. He's always effusive. And the thing, he's so enthusiastic all the time. And I love that about him. But he was about the music, because I knew him in the early 90s when I was on Steam Railway.
Right.
And I went to see him at his studios in South London, near Borough Market. And sort of girls outside with cassettes offer him as
brilliant.
But I remember going into the reception, and it's easy to forget just how huge Stock Aitken and Waterman were. There were 3 rows of gold, silver, and discs that went
mainly gold, I think.
Right round reception, right round over the wall, and disappeared off up the steps. Because I think at one stage something like 8 out of 10 of the top 10 were their music.
Quite extraordinary.
Hugely successful.
Yeah, and the thing that he said in that interview, which I thought really resonated, was just how many young people that we've seen around on site. I mean, it's a really family event.
Not just a load of old blokes.
Not like just us. People like you and me. No.
Silver foxes. That's not old blokes. Yeah.
But he's absolutely right, and the passion and the interest. Just watching little kids clearly just loving everything about this. I thought was absolutely marvellous.
Absolutely, and of course, sowing good seeds of the railway in young minds is a wonderful thing to do, because they hear too much from the Daily Mail and other things about where the railway gets it wrong. But it just shows you show people where the railway is getting it right, and its history and its meaning and its importance, and they just lap it up, don't they?
They do. No, they absolutely do. What's been, as you sort of look back on 3, I have to say, wonderful but quite exhausting days, what's been the coolest thing you've seen?
The coolest thing I've seen, I've really struggled with that, because it's been that mood, I think, that everybody having such a good time, and that at any one time, we can see down there Prince from the Festinio going back and forth.
It is marvellous, isn't it?
We can hear, there it goes again, the horns on the Class 37, the first one, Ground Zero. All those sights and sounds is really, I think I'd be hard-pressed. The 308s at the gate where we're coming from Car Park C, where there's a conventional one, a hydrogen one, and a battery one. Who would have thought, when you and I were spotting at Preston, that the 08s would even still be going now, but that you get in different variants like that,
No, I completely agree. So I've also loved that. The other thing I think that is worth just mentioning about the way that this has been organised, there's sometimes when you go to events, there's like a core, there's like an epicenter where the really cool stuff is, and then you get out onto the fringes, and it's okay, but it sort of drifts away.
It doesn't.
It does not do that here. Every part of this site is worth visiting, and some of the people that we've spoken to, and we're going to go and do a little bit of we're going to do one of your famous grid walks later, and maybe hopefully go and grab a few people. It doesn't matter where you go, there's something interesting to see, there's something interesting going on.
And somebody very knowledgeable and enthusiastic to tell you about it. And
absolutely.
And bring that story to life, and that is just fantastic.
It is absolutely marvellous. No, from that reason, absolutely hats off to them.
That you've got Prince and FR20, two of the oldest sort of working steam locomotives, and the 99, subject to your video, and the 93s.
And they're literally next to each other. I mean,
absolutely.
Prince goes past 99, multiple times a day.
I'm going to say, we're going to see it once in a lifetime. As Patrick McLaughlin said, they should do it every 5 years. Well, of course, 5 years hence, Richard, is Liverpool and Manchester, isn't it, in 2030?
The only challenge, though, with it is, it was interesting. Pete Waterman said in his interview he doesn't feel we'll see the like of it again, and I think actually he's probably right. I think this is one of those genuine once-in-a-lifetime moments. Whether we can do something in 5 years' time, the problem is, where else would you do it? I mean, this has been the perfect location.
90 acres, and geographically the centre of England as well, sort of thing.
That's actually a very good point.
Everybody can get to it. I mean, there's places like Longsight, I suppose. But anyway, I'm sure something will happen then. But it wouldn't be right not to acknowledge Liverpool.
Well, you set James Dobson the challenge yesterday, of course, when he was on the show. He's obviously the guy who can actually claim to have had the original idea for this. And I think he was going to make a few calls, wasn't he, after you challenged him on...
I would really hope so. And given that Lord McLaughlin suggested it, would be rude not to.
I think it probably would, actually. You're probably right.
Because Patrick's such a nice bloke.
Now, in a short moment or two, I think we've got some more guests coming. I think Charlie's probably in the process of putting microphones on our next guest, because I've seen one of them just walk past. I'll tell you one of the things that
was really nicely done, Richard.
Was that nicely done? As a way of saying, Charlie, stand up and go and check that the guests have
and
just
it's worked.
arrived.
He's now taking his earphones off and looking around quizzically.
Well, I'll tell you what.
I'm impressed with that. That was good.
Was that all right?
That was live telly at its best, was that?
It has been quite a challenge. We've learned so much doing this, haven't
we have.
Yeah, and there's been some amazing... We've been so blessed with some absolutely extraordinary people who've come onto the show, and that's been great.
And just a word of thanks to our subscribers, members. It's good to know that people like what we do, but a lot of them just really love it. Their enthusiasm and this sense of community we've built, or that they've built around the whole green signals thing, I find it very humbling, actually.
No, I completely agree.
One chap was here earlier. He says, my wife knows not to bother me on a Thursday lunchtime.
That's absolutely fantastic.
We like quite a bit of that. So thank you to all of you, here and outside. on behalf of Richard, Stef, and me, it's we do work hard at this, and we want you to like it. And it's good to know that it's landing well.
Yeah,
to use
it's been so nice talking to so many lovely people. So hopefully are we nearly there, Charlie? Hopefully we're about to get our next guests on. Here they go.
Because we're going to run out of stuff.
We're still waiting for them. We're going to come on. We're going to have to wing it. I tell you one thing I saw yesterday, which was absolutely marvelous. So I went around and looked where the peaks were. So there's a display of peaks. So we got a couple of Class 44s, a couple of Class 45s, 46, and it really was like being back at Toten Depot in the 1970s.
When all the first 10 were there.
Well, we see. I never saw that. Did you see that?
Yeah.
You saw all D1 to D10.
And I think they were there on the one visit because I didn't go that often.
Wow.
But you talk about the peaks. There's a chap here earlier called Richard Colby.
Right.
Who's vice chairman of the Stapleford Miniature Railway. He built steam locomotives in miniature gauges, but he was an apprentice at Derby at the Loco Works, and he sat here earlier and he said, I've just had quite an emotional moment, Nigel. He said, was it D4 that's over there?
Yes, D4, yeah.
He said, the last time I saw that, he said, it was coming out the paint shop new when I was an apprentice.
No.
He said, and I stood there, and he said, so much has happened to both of us since then. He said it was really quite an emotional moment. And what a great story.
That is such a lovely story.
And that's the thing about this show, isn't it? Yeah. How many thousands of stories have unfolded between individuals and people who haven't maybe seen each other for years, and it's great.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Anyway, delighted to say we do have our next guest. If you would like to come and join us, gentlemen, do please. If you want to come here and then... welcome to Green Signals. Actually, welcome. I'm not even sure, but Charlie's had a chance to unmute the mics yet, but he has done so. There you go. Fantastic.
You may speak.
We can speak, can we?
You are okay
to go. Fantastic.
Thanks for having us on.
Absolute pleasure. We should introduce you. So if you're looking at this, to the right of me is Mike Asbestos, Senior Lecturer in History with at the University of Portsmouth and co-lead of the Railway Work, Life and Death project. And we're also joined by Colin Haynes, who is the Environment, Health and Safety Director for Alstom UK. Blimey, Colin, does that mean your name is on a piece of paper somewhere for this event?
My name is on the safety plan for this event. So yeah, it's been really, really good. The preparation that we've done has clearly paid dividends, and a few slips, trips and falls, and a few people a little bit overheated yesterday, but apart from
it was quite warm. Is that when you've got presumably there is a weather plan as well, partly as part of the safety?
There absolutely is, and don't get me started on the weather, but we may have the odd shower today, and the wind might get up a little bit, so I can see there's lumps of rail holding the shelter down, so that's
do you know, it's funny enough,
well prepared.
No, I don't think people can see this because it's probably sort of out of shot, but we've got the tent, the Green Signals tent, and we're on a bit of astro, so we can't drive tent pegs in. So Alstom very kindly has lent us the most extraordinary number of these ballast bags, but to help, we've got little sections of rail, which is absolutely superb.
Pay that long.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely superb, and it's very authentic, isn't it?
It's more authentic than you think, because the guys who brought them round yesterday in the Quixote thing came and said, Nigel, please don't put them in your van or let anybody take them away. I said, well, we wouldn't do that. He said, because they are actually used every day in the production process.
So they are indeed. They are indeed.
What for?
Just blocking things, holding things down, and
like a tent. So there you go.
I think that's great. So tomorrow morning they will be back in a workship doing their job.
Doing that. That's fantastic.
Building Elizabeth Line trains as of Monday.
Thank you
indeed.
for
Ben's coming on later a bit to talk about that, and then we want to find out a bit about that. But let's just chat about safety. Mike, you've got a very interesting project. Tell us about the project.
Thanks very much. So we are a collaboration between my institution, the University of Portsmouth, the National Railway Museum and the Modern Record Centre at the University of Warwick. And we've been working with organisations like the RMT, Alstom, the National Archives to try to make more information available about the people who worked on the railways in the past. And the way we're getting into that is through the records they left behind, unfortunately, of accidents they had, So we're going up to 1939. We've had wonderful teams of volunteers transcribing.
Just pause a moment, because any second now, and this shows you how good we are now, how good, wait for it.
At 11:30 in Handenholt, the turntable is in action. Don't miss it.
There you go. Thank you, Fiona. Anyway, please do continue.
Perfect. You can see you've done
Timed
that
and
before.
Yes, we have
timed and
done that.
automatic.
Absolutely.
So
No,
that's what Charlie was counting
So-
down to.
Yeah, we've been working with teams of volunteers who've been transcribing these records because we knew they existed, and they contain so much really important information about the people, about what they were doing, the practices on the ground, that we wanted to make that more easily available. Most people didn't know about it, even within the industry, and the volunteers have been transcribing that, and we now made that freely available through the project website, so anyone can access it. Currently a database of 115,000 people, and it's growing. There's going to be more to come, unfortunately, because usually it means that something bad happened. Most of the cases are relatively minor by today's standards, by standards of the time. What we can see as a result of it is not only a way into the people in the past, their lives, but also, and what's been brilliant, it's been working with the current industry to try to use those records to make a difference today.
So, because Colin, there was a really interesting story about something that happened actually on this site, wasn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. 15th of March 1915, so the First World War had been going on for almost a year. Regular shunting activity, something that would have been quite run-of-the-mill for the time. So Frederick Harry May was a shunter, so running around on foot, using shunting poles and so on, moving wagons around the site. He'd moved a wagon, left it in position, and was riding on the step of another one. And unfortunately, he'd left it in a position which was foul of the line that he was shunting the...
Oh no.
Yeah, absolutely. Foul of the line that he was shunting the wagon on, and he was crushed in between the two wagons. He wasn't instantly killed, but the crush injuries led to his death from toxic shock. He remained conscious long enough for his wife to be able to speak to him in the hospital. He died the following day.
I mean, it's a desperately sad story, but I suppose from all these events, we do learn, we can learn. So how is the project that you guys are doing taking, I suppose, stories like that and saying, you know, you can learn from that to make the railway an even safer place?
Well, what we've been able to do is, instead of just the contemporary records that were in the public domain, we've been able to use Mike's database to look at what people said at the time, how they were questioned, how they responded to those questions.
Well, it says a lot about culture, doesn't it?
Absolutely that, and especially the trade union representative who represented the deceased and his widow, and the way that the questions went. So, for example, we can learn that Edward Patrick, who was the shunting manager, he was the head shunter on the site, he was asked by the representative a simple question. He said, "Do you think that men need to take risks to complete their work?" And he answered yes. And that shows us the different appetite for risk in those days. But better than that, we can look into the records and see modern incident factors that we look for. So the Rail Safety and Standards Board has a human factors model that talks about 10 incident factors, and we can use that to analyse what goes wrong in our systems of work today, and look at these old accidents, and I can use that for teaching today. So part of my role is to educate new safety professionals and other professionals in the business about how we can better be safe by raising people's awareness and understanding and perception of risk.
Which is very much the same principle in aviation, isn't it? Learning from tragedy and disaster, and so that you can eliminate that kind of incident in the future.
It's absolutely that. Much of our learning comes from the aviation industry. My initial training was in the aerospace industry as a production engineer, but I do a lot of work on the margins of aviation at the moment as part of my hobby. But yeah, human factors really was born in the aviation industry. It's heavy now in the medical industry, so lots of learning in there. And I'm pleased to say that the rail industry has fully embraced it. And I think that's one of the reasons that the British Railways, our UK system, is one of the safest in the world.
Yeah.
And long may that continue.
Absolutely.
Well, when you compare it with, say, the US, which has got all sorts of horrors going on.
No, long may it continue. Absolutely. And
At
I think
11:30 in the entertainment zone, be sure to meet Zeus, Europe's largest walking Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Who knew? Well, we do, because we've heard that about 25 times.
Where else can you find the world's largest walking Tyrannosaurus? I saw Zeus yesterday.
Did you?
Oh, yeah, and I can confirm it is quite tall. Yeah, it's
And I can also confirm there is a risk assessment.
There is a risk assessment. Excellent.
What, been eaten?
For Zeus, I would love to see that. Mike, how do you keep a project? Is the project done now, or is it all about keeping this database going, but finding new ways to use it? What next for this project?
Volunteers are still working on transcribing accident records. We keep finding more that crop up. We think we got them all, and someone materialises out the woodwork and says, "Oh, I've got another couple of volumes." We're talking with Colin, has got a couple of volumes from crew that we're keen to work on and work with. So there's plenty more of that side of things going, but also it's about raising awareness, making sure that people know about us and what we're doing and can make use of it. So that's whether that's all sorts of people are interested, whether it's family historians, railway historians, academics, but also more really importantly within the industry itself. So working to say, look, there's this amazing resource that can be used in all sorts of different ways to try to improve people's health, safety and well-being today.
Is it an easy URL to say what it is?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much. Lovely. So we are www.railwayacccidents.port.ac.uk.
So Portsmouth, right?
Yeah.
So .port.ac.uk. We'll stick the
On
we'll
our
put
website.
we'll put that in our description on the YouTube video as well, so people can find that.
Thank
well,
you.
look, guys, thank you so much for joining us, and it is crucial, isn't it? We know we're proud of the safety record that the railways in Britain now have, but that only survives and only continues because of understanding the lessons from the past and no complacency.
And
it's all about
eternal vigilance.
And internal vigilance is absolutely the right thing.
Before we go, can I just say it's highly appropriate, Mike, you're a historian. That is the finest preserved example of an original HV vest I think I've seen in a very long time.
Thank you very much. I wore it specially for this.
It is,
I knew you'd
because I don't think
appreciate
they're compliant anymore, are they? But it is a fantastic thing. Takes me back to when they first appeared.
It is superb.
We'll have a chat later about the standard.
Oh dear. Right, okay. Well, listen, guys, thank you so much. Really appreciate you coming, and thank you for doing the
so
project,
much.
and good luck. So
Brilliant.
thank you very much indeed.
Thanks, Nigel.
Great stuff. Well, we'll let these guys go, and as they depart, we're coming close to the end.
We are. It's quite sad, really. We've now hit a nice little rhythm of. I don't like saying we're knowing what we're doing now, but we're more familiar with the process.
We are more familiar with
and
it.
Charlie's brilliant as a tech assistant, going around doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I think we've one more guest, haven't we?
We have got one more guest coming.
Is he around? I haven't
He
seen
has
him
not yet arrived, but that's okay. So we can chat for a bit. I'm just looking at Charlie. So we have muted we're muted on the mics, are we? There we go. We've got a thumbs up. Fantastic. Right, it's great stuff.
I wasn't muted.
No. I'm afraid you are live to the world.
Right. I just wanted to make sure in case something should slip.
Every word that you are saying is being broadcast for posterity. You concerned about that?
No, I don't think I've said anything embarrassing. You'd have pointed it out if I had.
I probably would have pointed out. I've just heard Prince go again.
Yeah, it's a very A4 type sound in that chime whistle.
The chime whistle's rather marvellous, actually.
I know.
What's the history of the chime whistle?
Well, they are I don't know, you caught me out now. They are American. And you get that shriek. And somebody at some point realised that if you made 3 of them at different lengths, you got different notes, and you put them on the one whistle, and you get a chime whistle. What I've never understood, and you really will understand this, is how they tune them so they are actually, it is a harmonic chord and not some horrible discord.
Well, I know how they do it with organ pipes. They have stops, don't they?
No,
I don't know how they do
it's a similar sort of thing, because very often there's 3
Not
different...
stops, the little wedges.
But you still have to get it the right length, and very often it's part of the casting. So to tune them is really quite...
So I hadn't really realised. So it is effectively, there we go. So it is effectively multiple pipes at the same time.
3 whistles being blown at once is the classic one, but the chap who built FR20, our friend Alan Middleton, Alan got into making chime whistles a few years ago out of stainless steel, And he made generally quite a lot of three flute whistles, but he also made one 5 flute whistle, which was he's a banjo player and a musician, so the tune,
a banjo player.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. And he stands alongside an accordion player in their folk band, which you'll be interested to know.
Well, we're actually live at the moment, so we probably shouldn't say anything about accordion players. So I'm guaranteed that somebody somewhere will be unhappy with
But
that.
they were best known in the States, and the J class, the Norfolk and Western big J class engines, got a very deep, that mournful, hear that
They are
lonesome
very
whistle,
mournful is a good
mournful
word,
whistle
actually.
blow
That's exactly what they
type
are.
thing, you know.
And
here he is.
and
We can stop waffling and
we
trying
can
to
stop waffling
because he's turned
and
up.
welcome. We have to just put a microphone on him, and we have to make sure he's turned his mobile phone off.
And our last.
Yeah, good to see you. We nearly had somebody walk in front of a camera there. Never mind. That's the joy.
Julian Worth.
That's the joy of being live. Oh, it's Julian, of course. Here he comes. Well, it's our great pleasure to welcome onto Green Signals. He's got to turn his... Only a comms director has got multiple phones. I used to work, as you know, with Will Whitehorn. Virgin, and I think he had 3 at any one time.
I was off on one trip somewhere with you all once.
Come on this side here, Ben. Come next to me.
That's where I would have picked anyway.
I found Will in a vestibule in a state of great agitation because he couldn't get a signal on any of his 3 phones.
Oh, my goodness. There you go. It
Thank
is
you.
our great pleasure.
No, thank you so much for coming. It's been, do you know what? It's when we talked about you guys coming down here and broadcasting across the 3 days, there was lots of technical complications, Wi-Fi, can we do it, can we not? And do you know what? You've brought a bit of magic and sparkle to this event.
Oh, Ben, you can...
And so many people have come up to me saying, it was great that they were
Really?
here, it was really brilliant.
Because I wasn't sure it was a great idea, and I think it was Stef talked to you, and she rang up, she said, look, I know you had reservations. She said, I've just talked to Ben, also he thinks it's a brilliant idea.
And the fact that you're on the green, because obviously this is the staff.
It is the green, it is the green.
The staff sit out here and have their lunch in the
we've had a
summertime.
ball. It's not been without its glitches here and there, and threading the needle round those announcements has been...
It's been great. It's been fun.
Has been good fun.
Anyway, we should just say properly, ladies and gentlemen, Ben Goodwin. Ben is the communications director for Alstom, UK and Ireland. And honestly, Ben, I don't know how you've...
It's been the tip of the spear of this whole...
I don't know what. What would you just... What's your...
I think my mantra for this whole thing is act now and beg for forgiveness later.
Oh, brilliant. Well,
we always live by that.
I have a lot of begging to do next week, put it that way. I'm still not quite there. We were obviously approached by Gus Dunster from the Severn Valley Railway and James Dobson from Avanti West Coast.
We had them yesterday,
great guys, really, really got very close to them for obvious reasons over this past year. And they came to us and they said, look, we know Litchurch Lane is not particularly busy at the moment, and I don't need to tell you, we had a pretty rough year last year.
We remember.
We got that, and thank you for your support during that really, really tough time.
Our pleasure.
It was an absolute, and I'll come back to that in a minute but essentially, they said, and we got the Elizabeth Line order, so we knew that we were starting that. But we had this brief window of opportunity where they said, do you think you could host something?
Providence.
Do you think you could host something for Railway 200? There's no big cavalcade, we all, well, I don't remember it, but Rail 150, I'm from York. My first job was, I worked at York Model Railway, which is now the pub at the train station.
Of course.
And then they were offering £5.50 an hour to go and work in the car park at the National Railway Museum.
Rich as beyond compare.
Absolutely. I mean, what I could do with that in our price was just like incredible. So I went and worked in the car park, hated it because it rained, because it's the north. And I marched into the museum and I said, I want to work with the steam trains, I love the steam trains. And somehow they let me run the children's activities over the school holiday. So there's a special place in my heart for that place. I go back as often as I could.
Okay.
And I worked Railfest 2003, I think it was. 2004.
We did that in partnership with Andrew Scott.
Yes. And then I went back in 2012 when they did the other one for the Cultural
and
Olympiad.
that one with Steve Davies.
And exactly, yeah. And I remember just how amazing it was. And I knew that the National Railway Museum couldn't do anything like that because all that land at the back of the South Hall has been sold for development. It was owned by Network Rail. So I think what I'm trying to say is Alstom, well, I felt that Alstom had a duty to do it. We've got a 90-acre site here that is controlled in the sense that you've not got vehicles coming in and out all the time, like all our other depots and other companies' depots. We were, relatively quiet, and I felt for Railway 200 we had a duty to put
So
this
did
event
you
on.
have some nervy board presentations to do to sell the idea?
Well, how I pitched it was I went back to Railfest and they said it was Britain's biggest celebration. They had 50 locos. So I said, well, if we get 51 locos here...
I remember you saying
I remember
and
that
here we
as
are
well.
with 140, the largest ever gathering.
Is that, so one of the questions I want to ask, what is the official number? You're like that, what is his name? The guy who used to do Eurovision, you actually have, what's the official
you're good
number?
to go.
You're good to go, yeah.
I don't want to say, because we had, for operational reasons, and we caveated that whenever we announced anything, some of the things couldn't get here.
Right.
But
subject to availability.
Then other things have turned up. I mean, you've seen the one on the back of the truck that turned up yesterday. We were really grateful that London North Western could give us one of our, in fact, all the Aventras are back apart from London Overground. So we've got all the Aventras back here that were all built, designed and built here. One gentleman, I'm not going to name any names, but turned up at the gate with his locomotive on the back of a lorry and said, I want it here at the Greatest Gathering.
It's such an amazing
It just turned up.
And of course,
spec,
me being me, I'm a sucker for anybody who does a grand gesture. And I said, yeah, of course. So we've I'll tell you where it is afterwards.
Okay.
But, and I think that's the thing about this event. Yes, it's our name above the door. Yes, this is Alstom's The Greatest Gathering. But it's only been made possible thanks to the industry has made this possible. And when I say the industry, I don't just mean the Tox, the Fox, the Roscoes. It's all the heritage groups.
Everybody.
They're all here. The model railways. The people who sell train T-shirts and tea towels and things like that. And I think, we often see each other at industry events and things like that, but they are quite segregated. Yeah. You have the business people go to the rail business events. You have the Preservation Society go.
That's
but
a good point.
You've met everybody from the managing director of,
It really is railway family, isn't it?
Right, it is railway family, and what's been really special to me as well is within that mix, you've got so many families. And I mean, today it's about 25% children. We knew that Sunday was going to be more.
We reckon that is the percentage,
yeah, today.
Is it? Fantastic.
And also it's local people as well. So the majority of the tickets were sold to people within the Midlands. And going back to what I was saying before about our tough year last year, you guys, other organisations, other partners across the industry stood by us when we needed it the most. But so did this city. Yeah. And I don't just mean the MPs, and of course what they did, and the newspaper and everybody, but it was the people themselves. They got out on the streets and they said, we need to save this. This is the last of its kind in the country. It's the only place in the country where you can design, build, engineer and test a train. If we lost this facility, we would be the only country in the G7 that couldn't build a train from scratch.
I think we actually said on the show when we interviewed Nick, it would be a scandal.
It would.
Happened.
And that's why we were completely behind
But I think
it.
it's important that when people stand shoulder to shoulder in the bad times, we also stand shoulder to shoulder in the good times.
Yeah.
And so this is our way of saying, come on, guys. And
what a lovely line.
Unfortunately, we couldn't get everybody in Derby down here, for we've got a big site, but it's not that big. But having you guys here, and what's brilliant about having you guys here, and I mean, the world is watching Derby right now. Yeah. We've had press coverage, front page news in France, Italy, Romania, USA, Canada, all over the way. It's just gone global. The world is looking at Derby right now. But having you guys here, it's just you've been able to take it into people's homes and say, look, really
for the
sorry
people that can't be
here, but come and enjoy it, because I can't see anything like this ever happening again.
And I think we agree with that. And interestingly, Ben, a chap said to us yesterday, he said, I've really enjoyed it. He said, I've just got one thing I'm not terribly happy about. And I said, what's that? He said, I think this should have been on for at least a week. And I go, oh, right, okay.
Well,
but actually, that's not possible for a very good reason, is it?
Yes. So the reason why we've done it this weekend is because we're in factory shutdown right now. Yeah. So typically the factory shuts down for 2 weeks a year. It's when the staff would take holiday and there's no manufacturing taking place. But on Monday, tomorrow, we start building 10 new Elizabeth line trains.
How about that?
And when I say tomorrow, we've got to get the Pendolino out tonight so we can get the sheet metal in first thing tomorrow. I've just been in a meeting where it was like, how are we guaranteeing that?
I can't think, given where we were a year ago, the conversations we're having then, I can't tell you how exciting and wonderful it is to know that the reason we've all got to literally get out of the way as fast as we can is so you guys can start doing tomorrow what you're here to do, which is building trains. Ben, it's so cool.
And I think, you look around you now and it's like, oh, am I in Disneyland? No, this is a factory where we build trains, and the fact that we're doing what we're doing this weekend, myself and Catherine, who works with me, we've kind of organised everything from a logistics point of view here on the site. But it's the hundreds, and I mean hundreds of volunteers, Alstom staff, who have stepped up to the plate and said, what can we do? How can we make this as good as possible? All the partners, I would be here until probably we started building the Elizabeth line trains tomorrow morning to thank everybody, and it's everybody from the cleaners, they've done all the cleaning for free on site, they said it's our way of giving back. We can't bring you a train, but at least we can provide you with cleaners.
It's just super.
Water, we've had pallets of water, people have just, and I think that's the thing. We talk about the railway family, and this is where the railway family comes into its own.
Because some people are a bit cynical about it, but I've always found it very real, and this is an even more powerful, tangible, physical. There it is.
And like you say, you talked about the sort of early board meetings. It was definitely beg for forgiveness and act now and beg for forgiveness. And gradually along the way, we've kind of brought people on, and of course, we've had everybody here this weekend. But yeah, it's just not been possible without the support of everybody here.
It's so kind of you to say that, I know, but this is our opportunity to embarrass you, though.
Well,
every
well, I'm having a bit
needs,
of a moment, to be
honest.
honest.
Every team needs a leader, and honestly, Ben, just the energy, the positivity. Every time we talk to you, it's just oozes out. You've got more energy and positivity than most people have in a lifetime. So, Ben, from all of us, thank you to you for what you do.
She's been here throughout it all, so it's right that we should include her in that.
And I say it to every person that I meet. And I'm not asking for a medal here, but if I've worked 16 hours a day on this event, she's been working 17.
Well, exactly.
And I can tell you, this event would not have happened if it wasn't for Catherine Lancaster, and she deserves every accolade going, because she has this entire site wrapped up in her arms. People will do anything for her because she is a great person, and she is. I mean, if you cut her through, she is Derby Litchurch Lane Works. Through. I mean, she's Alstom through and through. But this site is her site.
Absolutely.
And in fact, I'm gonna embarrass her now, because
go on then.
There's a part that if you know where the steam locomotives are in the steam, she's gonna hate me for this. She will, but keep going. Well, I've started now, so I'm gonna have to finish. Where the steam cavalcade is, and there's that little pathway that goes to the test track. That's called Lancaster Lane.
No way.
Yeah, it was named specific because she commissioned that, because she said we should have a better pathway.
So thanks to the pair of you from
my pleasure. No, my pleasure. My pleasure.
And who've watched us online.
And I'm just, for me, and it broke me yesterday. I saw a little boy called Oliver. He was 4 years old, and he had a high-vis vest on like yours, and he'd got his mum to iron on a patch of the Greatest Gathering logo, and I just and I was just like, I'd had 2.5 hours sleep, I hadn't eaten, and I was like, but this is why we're doing it.
This is why,
because as much as I'm a rail fan, I love trains, I love everything about this, but we need to get more people into the industry, and it was great that you had Yasha on,
and in a good way. Because there's enough in the Daily Mail about it.
Absolutely. And the kids have come into seeing it, and they just love it.
It's been great. I can't think of any
better way to
end it. We've got to end it, because we're going to get another PA announcement in about a minute.
Sorry about
that.
No,
they've been absolutely brilliant, Ben. But Ben,
thank you so much.
Thank you on behalf of everybody.
My pleasure.
And ladies and gentlemen, that's it. That's, as they say, a wrap from The Greatest Gathering. Thank you so much for joining Green Signals Live.
Absolutely.
Hope you've enjoyed it. You'll be able to catch it all on YouTube. But for now, it's goodbye from me, and it's goodbye
from him.
And goodbye from Ben.
Bye.
But most of all, bye from The Greatest Gathering. Bye-bye.